it's day 2. You've done it. You've been at University of Melbourne one day, you're at day 2. So hopefully you're starting to feel ready, connected, and part of the university. In case you don't remember, my name is Zoe and I'm your host for part 2 tonight. I'm really excited to bring our session to you because last night we looked at things like tips from our current students and our student advisors. We looked at ways that you can stay connected, get involved, but also having that head start on your careers. Well, another way you can make a head start on your careers is focusing on your studies. And that's where we're headed to tonight. We're going to be taking a look at how we can help set you up for academic success, get you prepared, and a bit of a head start in that way. So I've pulled together some more experts tonight, and they're going to help you with that. We're also going to be looking at course planning. I know a lot of you have lots of different questions about that, and it can be pretty confusing. But don't worry, if you learnt one thing last night, we are here to help you and we love your questions. So before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands on which you join us from all over the world. I join you from the lands of the Wurundjeri people, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. So most of you will be very familiar with what I just did, but for those just tuning in today, that was, of course, an acknowledgement of country. And it's a really important way that us at the University of Melbourne and in Australia can actually recognise our nation's first people and the deep ties and rich culture that they have contributed and will continue to in Australia. So there you go, your second taste of some Australian culture there. So you know the deal. This is an interactive session. Please do post your questions in the Q&A. There will be our team of expert chatters behind the scenes, as always, answering your questions. And I'm going to put some of them live to our experts and guests today. So keep them coming. They love your questions and I love putting them to the test. So there is one thing tonight. In the first session, we're going to all be looking at the ways that we can help prepare you for your academics in the classroom. But after that, we're actually going to do a special session straight away for the undergrad students, and that will be their course planning session. For the grads, you can stick around because there might still be some good tips for you, but you can also take a break for 30 minutes and come back and join me then. But let's get started. We are going to focus right now on how can you get that head start to set you up for academic success. Now, what better than the manager of academic success than bringing this man to you tonight? This is Guido, manager of academic success. Welcome, Guido.
Hi, Zoe.
Tonight, we are going to pick your brain for your tips, tricks, ideas, the best way to get a head start. And I believe you've even brought along an expert panel of students with you. I think I'm going to introduce them, and please make welcome. We have Seymour. Welcome, Seymour. Coming to the screen soon.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, Seymour. We have Nicole. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, everyone.
And last but definitely not least, we have Ivana. Welcome, Ivana.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Now, you are all in good hands. I'm going to hand over to Guido and you're going to have a great discussion. I look forward to learning some things myself too. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Over to you.
Thanks, Zoe. Welcome, everyone. So yes, as Zoe said, I'm the manager of academic skills, and I've got 3 students with me, and I will let them talk a lot because I know you want to hear from them rather than from me. But before we get them involved, there's just a couple of things I want to tell you about academic skills and how academic skills might help you to be successful while studying at the University of Melbourne. So academic skills is a central service for all students at the University of Melbourne, no matter whether first year undergraduate, graduate coursework, PhD, all the way, all faculties, all levels. everyone can make use of academic skills. And we are really there to help everyone to be the best they can be. It's not a service for students that are struggling. We help everyone, but it's not just students who find it difficult or have problems or whatever. We believe everyone can be improved, and we can help you to be the best students you can be. So if you want to improve your study skills, if you want to improve your language skills, and a friend of mine always said, no one has academic English as a first language. So using academic English is really, really difficult. Even if your parents are academics, you don't speak academic English at home. It's something very different. So you have to learn it. Everyone has to learn it. And learning a language takes time. Some people just pick it up, but most people benefit from a bit of insight, a bit of instruction, a bit of feedback. So I really encourage you to make use of the services that we provide. And if English is your second language, you might be even in for a bigger challenge. So we are there to help you. So I'll quickly show you a couple of things, how you can find out more about what we do and how we might be able to support you. So the best thing to find out what we offer is to go and Google academic skills UniMelb. If you're in Australia, you can probably leave the UniMelb out. If you're outside of Australia, you should probably put it in because there's other academic skills services. And if you Google that, we should come up as the top link. And if you go to our webpage, all the information you need is really there. There's especially a section if you're not familiar with academic skills and what we offer, and you can learn about more what we do. We have a large amount of resources available on our website. So you can go to that section and explore what resources we have. And these resources include short, quick reads on the webpage, videos, interactive modules, and much more. And then there's a number of other areas we support you with. So there's our online learning modules that I just already mentioned. We do run a large number of workshops every semester. We do special services around developing your English language, if English is not your first language. And we do offer one-on-one advice. This is a very popular service. You can come and speak to an academic skills advisor about whatever you want to talk about in relation to your study skills and how you're going. So we have students coming to us talking about how to manage a reading load or how to take notes in a lecture, how to memorize things for an exam. But the most popular request is actually students coming in, bringing in a draft of an assignment before they submit it to get them feedback from experts about how it might be improved. So I really encourage you to Google academic skills, explore the website, see the services that we offer. And I'll also quickly show you a couple of things that we have on the LMS, the Learning Management System. One big thing we have in there is the Academic Skills Hub. There's a lot of the online learning modules in there. You can also get to that through the website. And there's a couple of other ones. There's a writers community. This is really for students who doing a research project, so a master's or a PhD by research. We have academic English tutorials. We have the Della. I won't talk about that too much, but there's more information coming about that. We have a community about improving your English, which is again very easy to access, and you can self-pace yourself and dip in and out as you want to go. And we actually have a module called Welcome to Melbourne. This is sort of a complementary module to what you experience here in the webinar. But that's enough of me talking. So I'll now ask the student panel, and I'll just pick someone so we don't have a confusion who goes first. So just ask Seymour. Seymour, what was your experience starting at the University of Melbourne? Have you made use of any of the services that Academic Skills offers?
Hi, great. Thank you for the question. For me, when I started uni, I have no idea how to write at a university level. So when you see your assessments, it's usually 500 words, 1,000 words, 1,500 words, and I really have no idea how to start. And I have no idea how to structure a paragraph, and I have no idea how to structure a whole essay. So what I did is during my orientation, there were quite a few information sessions about academic skills, and they also ran a few workshops about how to write an essay, how to do the referencing, how to write in an academic English tone. So I attended those sessions, and I get my head around about, okay, how should I start my first assignment, and I think that has been really helpful for me, and I follow that structure every time I have an assignment.
Great, thanks, Sima. I might ask Ivana next. Ivana, you are just about to complete a master's degree, so you entered the university at a graduate level, so you had already experience studying at an undergraduate level. What were the challenges for you coming in to do a master's?
Thanks, Guido. That's a great question. There were a lot of challenges, especially it was that research, writing, reading component that was a lot more intense at a graduate level that I really sort of had to wrap my head around, as Seymour said. So those were some of the challenges. And my initial instinct was to jump at everything at once and try to tackle all the things at once. So my advice for the prospective students, for you guys, would be to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, focus on sort of gradually building up your research, reading, writing cardio. And for me, what really helped was that LMS community for the academic skills, because it was sort of like a self-guiding sort of interactive way for me to tackle each aspect of the writing and the reading process bit by bit. So definitely take it easy, start slow, don't get overwhelmed. You'll get there. Trust me, you will.
Thanks, Ivana. That's great advice. I might just ask Nakul whether he can add anything to it. Like, what would be your top tip for any commencing students?
I think, as you rightly said, that if someone doesn't have English as his first language, he's coming in for a big challenge. And I totally agree to it, because I faced that. And I think one-to-one appointments are the one that might really help you through it, because as a student, when I was there in my first year, I was lucky to be on campus. So the one-on-one appointments used to happen in the library. So I had an assignment and I had to write an academic journal, and I had zero idea about it. So I just wrote something like an assignment that I would generally give out at high school level, and then I went to the appointment and then I asked them to read and go through it as a draft, and then they gave me quite useful advice for it, that you should do the referencing in this style as you're asked about it, your words should be a little formal and stuff. So I think if you're really lacking those things, or if you haven't experienced a lot of academic writing, you should try to book one-on-one appointments. And now they do happen online as well, due to the pandemic and due to the flexibility of people being internationally as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nakul. I just wanted to stress that. So obviously we can't do one-on-one appointments all the time at the moment, and we have a lot of students with us being overseas, but that really is no barrier to accessing our services. All the one-on-one appointments are online. We, as the team delivering the service, actually find it often works much better than being in a room in the library. students are on time usually because I don't have to get to the room and find it. The campus is a big place. We can share the screens. That means we can look at your writing, at your draft. We can give you feedback. It works really well. All the workshops are online as well, or have at least an online option. So sometimes we do repeats, face-to-face and online, but you're not missing out on anything if you're not able to be physically on the campus. And I just maybe ask Seema, because Seema gave a great introduction of how he used academic skills in the first place, but maybe just asking Seema as well, if you've got your top tip for commencing students, how they can ensure that they're on the path to academic success.
Thanks for the question. So I think my top tip would be pay attention to those information sessions. So in those sessions, you can know where you can find help. And maybe you don't need this help at the moment, but when you realize you need the help, you know where you can find the help. So yeah, definitely pay attention to those information sessions during the orientation. They are very important, I think.
Great, thanks, Seema. Yeah, actually one top tip that we usually give to commencing students, and if you're joining us for orientation and come to an academic skills session, which I strongly suggest you do, you will probably hear us saying that because we say it all the time. You need to reach out. There's a lot of help available, but if you feel something's not right, you could do with some help, you could do with some feedback, you could do just talking to someone about whether what you're doing is working and whether it could be improved. You need to put your hand up and you need to be proactive. There's a lot of support available, but no one is going to come and ask you if everything's going all right with you. You just need to be the one that is proactive and says, hello, can I have some help, please? And people will be there to help you. So just make use of what is on offer. Everything we do is free. You don't need to worry about paying for it or, you know, having it a part of your course load or anything like that. It's outside of the curriculum. It's free. It's available to everyone. And a lot of it is online now. Well, everything's online now, but a lot of the resources are available 24/7 as well. So you don't need to be restricted by when advisors are available. You can just jump in there. We also have an email feedback service. Used to be the drop-ins, they're now via email. So you can also just send something off at any time zone, wherever you are, and you will get feedback very quickly on your writing. So yeah, just encouraging you to take up what's on offer and wishing you all the best for your studies. And I might just check with our host, Zoe, whether there have been any questions in the chat.
We absolutely do. We've got plenty of questions happening, and we have one coming from Shan Raxmay. Thanks so much for your question. I think it's one a lot of students would be thinking. So Guido, I'm going to go to you first, and then I might get the students' take on this. What are your tips for managing time? So they're going to be juggling a lot of subjects. We'd love to hear from you. What should they do?
Yes, time management is one of the biggest challenges. And we've got a Facebook page, and whenever we post something about time management, and especially procrastination, we get the most hits and likes. It's a big issue for everyone. One of the things we often talk about is think about what's important and what's not important. And a lot of people say that, but also think about what's urgent and what's not urgent. So if you've got an assignment due in 4 weeks, that's important that you do that assignment, but it's not urgent. But if you leave it for 3 weeks, it all of a sudden becomes very urgent. So the best way to manage your time is to focus on the things that are important. but also try to tackle them before they become urgent and become a crisis. Try to do things as early as you can. That really releases the stress, I think. I know it's hard, but we can help you with that. We've got tools, we've got semester planners, we've got videos. Again, just make use of it and look at the website.
I think that is something that a lot of people struggle with, and particularly when you're just starting in a new course, if you're a graduate or if you're an undergrad starting uni. So you heard it here first from our manager of academic success. So take those words and make the most of that. I'd love to hear the student perspective. You were doing it, you were juggling subjects at the moment. Ivana, what are your tips for our new students out there?
Yep, thank you, Zoe. So basically building up on what Guido said, don't leave it for the last minute, but also it's really important to develop this habit of doing a bit of work every single day. So even if it's just 100 words a day, that's still something. And take it in 5 days, you'll have written 500 words. And there you go, there's your essay. So just don't postpone it till the last minute or till the week prior submission. Just do the best you can do and always leave at least a day or two before submitting it for editing and for proofreading. So you don't get all panicky. And once you know that, prior 2 days before your deadline, you have your work done, that means that you're succeeding in time management. So aim to get there, aim to give yourself at least a 1-day loop before submission.
That's excellent. I really liked your personal tip there about 100 words a day. Might use that. Seymour, what do you personally do to manage your time that might help our new students?
For myself, at the beginning of a semester, I will try to find out what are my deadlines for my assignments are, and I put them in my calendar. It can be a online calendar, it also can be a digital calendar, but make sure you write them down so you will have a clear sense about when I will be very busy, when I'll be very not busy. And like Guido said, I also do color code based on the importance of each deadlines. So in that sense, I know which one I should probably start ahead, like a few weeks ahead, or I can leave it just a few days ahead. And I also I also write down a to-do list for like a daily tasks, and I cross them out after I finish them. So definitely try to write things down instead of just put them on your mind, and you will forget something eventually. So definitely write them down. That's my tips.
Excellent tips. So color code, to-do lists are some great ones. Nicole, are you good at juggling things? Are you good at time management? Or did you become good at it? Or are you in the process?
No, I think I've become good at it now, because it's my last year. I had to. So like, first of all, like these were very short tips for you, but if you want something in detail for it, I think you should definitely attend the time management session that we have in our academic skills workshop during the orientation week, of course. And also one tip that I think works for me is I start doing the assignments according to the deadline. So like if something is due day after tomorrow, I'll do it first, and something is due like 3 days after that, I'll do it later on, because I have more time for that. And also, as Seymour said, these semester planners are there that you could download online, or you can also get it from the campus. So I think those are quite helpful for me, because you can just write down the assignment dates, the deadlines, how much it's worth, and then you can plan your semester accordingly. I think those are quite helpful for me since the first semester, and like those have helped me become what I am now. So I think, yes, that should be something that you must do as well.
Excellent. It shows how you pick up new skills at university. Thanks, Nicole. Now, Nicole did give you another tip within that, and that's to attend O Week. So orientation, that's where you go into the detail. So we're just getting you started with some tips and tricks yesterday and now today, but do attend, because that's where you go into that deeper level of detail. Nicole also happened to mention, and I'm coming back to you, Guido, about workshops such as the time management workshop. We do have a question from our live audience, and that is about when can students start accessing the workshops, the services, the things that can help them with their academic success?
Yeah, sure. So we run a large number of sessions during orientation. And there's the orientation website where students can register their intent to go. It's not really a requirement, but it does help us a lot if we know who wants to attend. And for the workshops that run throughout semester, we usually release them sort of like a few weeks ahead. So if we run a workshop in week 3, it will be open for registration during orientation. If we run something in week 9, it might not be open until a few weeks later in the semester. So it's always a good idea to go back and check that webpage. And it's just one webpage for all the student services workshops. So you don't need to check 5 different webpages if you want to attend a career workshop and an academic skills workshop and a counseling workshop. All the workshops are on one page. So it's quite easy to navigate. Just check in there like a couple of times during the semester and you can see what's on offer and can sign up.
Brilliant. And I'm assuming that's once students are enrolled, because we have some students that are yet to have completed their enrollment, that's when they'll be able to access and sign up.
Yeah, that's right. These workshops are only open for enrolled students. So once you've got your login details, because you are enrolled at the University of Melbourne, then you can sign up. If you're not enrolled yet, unfortunately, you can't.
Thanks, Guido. Well, there are so many opportunities available. And remember, they're all online and offline, so no one is missing out. We've got a couple of minutes left, and I'd like to put my favorite question to our students. Casting your minds back from an academic preparedness mindset, I'm going to ask you, Nicole, what is the one takeaway from this session about setting yourself up for academic success that you want our new students to know?
I think don't give up attitude is one that you must be ready to take on any challenge that you get. So like, see, there will be times that you might face some difficulties in terms of language barrier, in terms of not knowing how to go about doing things, assignments and stuff. But I think there's always people who will help you. There's always places where you can seek help and you will be able to get through it. So just like someone asked in the Q&A that is there anything else apart from academic writing the academic skills does? So yes, it does. So it does gives you help with mathematics, statistics as well, apart from academic writing. So if you have any doubts regarding that as well, you can definitely get them cleared. Also, we do hold some workshops in the orientation week. That's from 19th of July to 23rd of July this semester. And you'll get to see many of the workshops like managing time, how to go about familiarizing yourself with the Australian accent, and many others as well. So I think just be aware of what is happening at the university. Just try to do things, quite a lot of things, involve yourself in the community apart from academics, and you will be good to go and you'll be like having the best time of your life, I think.
Oh, what lovely advice. And I hope that you're getting used to my Australian accent tonight. It is my gift to you. It's part of your getting started. Seymour, can you tell us what's the one takeaway that you maybe wish that you knew when you first started at Melbourne in terms of what would have helped set you up for success with your studies?
I think I wish I knew that don't be too frustrated when you didn't do well in your first assignment or your second assignment or your third assignment. But the important thing here is you keep trying, you keep trying and keep trying. And eventually you will see you're turning the point. Yeah. That's
excellent advice. It does all seem to come together at some point, doesn't it, Seymour? So
yeah,
very wise words. Ivana, what's your advice?
Zoe, my advice would be to take advantage of the opportunities that are being offered and consider them as an investment in your future self in 4 years from now. So once you finished uni, you want to be this complete completed individual, having had the opportunity to not only do well with the assignments, but also interact with the university, interact with other students, and help yourself, progress by, taking part of the academic skills and taking, advantage of their services. As Guido said, they're free. So there's nothing you can lose. It's a win-win situation. So definitely invest in that.
Oh, that's excellent advice. And remember, to everyone, Seymour, Ivana, and Nicole are doing this now, and they started and felt just like you, nervous, excited, maybe a bit worried about some things not so long ago. So this is really great advice. I'm going to give the final words to you, Guido. What do you want to be the one takeaway for our students that are just starting?
Sorry, nearly forgot to unmute myself there. The one tip is, just as Ivana said, take advantage of it. Start by Googling academic skills, look at the website. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel there's a stigma if you're not sure about something. It's all there. Make use of it.
Great advice. And we've kept saying this, but do ask for help. No one is going to think that maybe you shouldn't have got in or something. We all ask for help along the way because it is new and it is a bit scary, and everyone does want to help you. We want you to do really well. So on that note, I would like to say a very big thank you to our first expert panel tonight. It's Guido, Manager of Academic Success. How perfect. Seymour, Nicole, and Ivana, thanks so much for joining us and sharing such wise words. We've really appreciated having you.
Thank you
so much. Good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great semester.
Thanks, Nicole. So we're going to move on to the next part. You've heard some great tips, but this one is where we're going to look into course planning. But on this note, I want to do a public service announcement for our graduate students. Feel free to go and grab a snack or a drink, or maybe quickly watch something on Netflix for 27 minutes. And we're going to focus on course planning for undergraduate students. And in 27 minutes or so, we're going to come back and we're going to focus just on you. If you do want to stick around, you absolutely can, because there may be some things that might help you, but we wanted to give you guys that focus. So to grad students, stick around or I'll see you soon. To our undergraduate students, I have brought you someone who knows the ins and outs of course planning. She is a course planning extraordinaire. Her team is here to help you because we know it can be a little overwhelming. Please welcome Belinda. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Zoe. And on behalf of myself and course planning and the wider university, congratulations on your offer. It's a huge thing to get into the University of Melbourne, and we're really, really excited to welcome you to the community. So what is course plan? Oh,
well, I'm going to hand over to you now, but I do just want to say too, again, you can see with Belinda, she wants to help you, her team want to help you, and tell us all about course planning. I'm going to pop back later and ask you some questions from the audience, but over to you, Belinda.
Thanks, Zoe. I was so excited to welcome you all and to delve into course planning. So as Zoe said, my name's Belinda and I am from the course planning team. So we have a dedicated team that helps students with subject selection, planning your course. So I thought what might be helpful for this session is just to run through some of the resources that we have to help you. Course planning is a very individual thing, and there's lots of different considerations for different students about what you want to achieve from your degree. So I thought I would first start with going through sort of the source of truth for your subjects and your course, which is the online handbook. So the handbook really does have all the information that you need for your course, for your majors, for your subjects, and really is a source of truth and where you should be going to double check that you are on the right track in meeting the requirements of your course. So I thought I'd go through an example for the Bachelor of Science to some of their little tips and tricks to look out for on the handbook when you are exploring your course and things to look out for. So just on the handbook link, you can search by the course code or the name of the course in the search bar. And you can see here, we've got the Bachelor of Science. So if I click into the Bachelor of Science, it will have an overview about the course, what the course structure is. So this is an important thing to try to wrap your heads around to begin with, is that we look at everything in credit points. And generally speaking, most subjects are worth 12.5 credit points. So if you keep that in the back of your mind, you have to do at least 225 credit points of science subjects. So that looks like 18 science subjects across your entire degree. And within that, you need to do at least 5 subjects or 62.5 credit points of level 1 science, and at least 5 level 2 science, and then going up to 6 level 3 science. So this can help you get a little bit of an idea about the different types of subjects that you need to meet the requirements of your degree. We also have breadth subjects, which I hope you're all aware of. It's one of the most exciting things about courses here at the University of Melbourne. But breadth subjects are subjects that are outside of your main discipline. And I will be going through how to search for those and some considerations about how to choose subjects there. And then there's, in most courses, there's also a couple of subjects where you can actually choose. So there's a couple of subjects which can be either your discipline subjects or your breadth subjects. And that's where course planning can help you to understand where that flexibility is and help you to achieve your goals. Another big thing in your course entry in the handbook, other than the course structure and having an understanding about the different types of subjects that you need to do, are also your majors. So for every undergraduate degree, you will need to choose a major. Some have, the Bachelor of Agriculture has 3 majors, the Bachelor of Science has over 40 majors that you can choose from. And each major entry does have all the information that you need. If we have a look at cell and developmental biology, as an example, under the structure tab, that will tell you the subjects that you need to do to get that particular major. So for cell and developmental biology, you must do concepts in cell and developmental biology, which is in semester 1. So this is a core subject, and then you can choose at least 1 and up to 3 of this list of subjects, and a maximum of 2 of these subjects. And you can see here that this is your major. So these are the level 3 subjects that you need for your degree. You can tell the level of subject by the first number in the subject code. So a little dissection of subject codes very quickly. The first 4 letters are the area of study. So CEDB is cell and developmental biology. This first number here is the level. So this is a level 3 cell and developmental biology subject. And this is sort of just being able to identify the number of subject. So the first 4 letters are sort of their discipline, and then the first number is important to note which level it is. Generally speaking, for your very first semester, you would only be doing level 1 subjects. So if you find some really awesome subjects that have a code that start with a 2 or 3, that's awesome, but you'd put them on the back burner to be studying later on in your degree. So what you can do to plan your course is sort of to work backwards. So if we go into this particular subject, which we know is a level 3, so you wouldn't be doing that until your 3rd year most likely, we can click on that one. And it will tell you all of the information that you need to know about that particular subject. One really important consideration when you are looking at subjects is to have a look at the availability. So this is a semester 1 subject, but you'll see here it says dual delivery. So your study plan itself is likely to have that everything is an on-campus subject. Your study plan, where you enroll in subjects, is not actually the source of truth when it comes to the delivery of subjects. So the online handbook is the best place to see what the delivery mode of subjects will be. So concepts in cell and developmental biology is a dual delivery subject, which means that it is offered, that classes are offered both on campus and online. So the vast majority of subjects will be dual delivery for semester 2, which means that even if you are offshore, you can still do that subject. So just note on your actual study plan where you enroll in subjects, it might say on campus only, but the online handbook is where you will see whether or not it is online, dual delivery, or on campus. There are a very small number of only on-campus subjects, and that's because the sort of teaching and learning can't be replicated online. But for 95% of subjects, you will absolutely be able to study them online or on campus. So that's a really important thing to note. Another thing to note in the online handbook is also this eligibility and requirements tab. So if we hit this eligibility and requirements tab, and please ignore my barking dog in the background, but it'll also tell you prerequisites. So this is background knowledge that you need to have in order to enroll into this subject. So this is a level 3 subject, and you can see here within the Bachelor of Science, we need to have done one of these level 2 subjects. So if you think, oh, maybe fundamentals of cell biology looks like a good subject, we know it's a level 2 subject. We can click on that one. Again, same thing, dual delivery semester 1, under eligibility and requirements, you'll see you need one of the following subject sets. So if we scroll down, we can see that we need either life introductory biology, or standard biology, and introductory biology or standard biology. So for science courses specifically, there's lots of different entry points depending on what you studied at high school. So this is for maths and biology and for chemistry, but the online handbook will tell you what it is, what the background is that you need. So going from our cell and developmental biology major subject, we've worked our way backwards. And now we know the level 1 subjects that we need to be able to then go on to those level 3 subjects. So working backwards through the handbook based on the major that you're interested in is a really good way to plan your course. And you can see the availabilities as well. So you can sort of map everything out with your prerequisites. So the handbook is a source of truth in terms of subject information, but there's also lots of other support available. There's also the faculty course planning resources website. So on that, you can see under science, there's lots of different faculty resources and also course maps. So course maps are a good way to visualize what your course will actually look like. So on here, you can see that there's, we've got the minimum of 5 level 1 science electives, minimum of 5 level 2 science electives, and that can help you sort of tick off how you are meeting course requirements. So I'd really strongly encourage you to have a really thorough look through the handbook. It's really exciting to see all of the different subjects that you will be doing in your 2nd and 3rd years, but that can also help you to know the subjects that you want to do in your very first year. Another thing, let me just move that for a minute. So lots of different resources available. Handbook is I would really strongly encourage you to have a really good play with that and to have a really good understanding of the subjects, the types of subjects that you need to meet your course requirements. Lots of resources online. But there's also lots of different considerations when it comes to selecting your subjects, because there'll be certain subjects that you need to meet major requirements, but then there's lots of electives or breadth subjects that you can choose from. And there's lots of different ways that you can actually consider choosing your subjects. So a big one is interests. So if you're really interested in a subject, that probably means that you're really likely to engage in the content and probably do well in it. So thinking about what it is that you're interested in is a really good way of sort of choosing electives and breadth. Another big thing is major. So even if you have all of the subjects that you absolutely need for your major, there might be some subjects that are quite similar, which will also help you to do well in your major. Graduate study. So a lot of graduate study that we offer at the University of Melbourne, you just need to have an undergraduate degree to be eligible to apply for. But there's also other graduate programs where you need particular prerequisites. So having an idea, if you know the graduate study that you want to go on to do, Doctor of Dentistry, as an example, there's some level 2 subjects that you need to study in order to meet the entry requirements for that graduate study. So you also need to keep that in the back of your mind. And complementary subjects. Now, this is a little bit loaded because you could argue that everything complements everything. Because even if you do something that is completely outside of your discipline, you're still learning new skills and new knowledge, and cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary subjects is a really big, important thing, especially within the Melbourne model, and to sort of really prepare you for success in lots of different fields. And as I said, these are considerations for both your discipline subjects and for your Brett subjects. So you can work forwards. So if you have no idea what you want to major in, that is about 50% of students that are starting their course. So if you think, oh God, I don't know what I want to major in, that is absolutely okay. And we would encourage you to have a look at all of the different level 1 subjects that you're interested in, and then that can help narrow down your choices for major. So you can actually look at your 6 to 8 level 1 subjects that you really want, that you're really interested in, you really want to do, and then see what that might lead into for a major. Or the example that I did before with cell and developmental biology, you can work backwards. If you're dead set, you know what you want to major in, or you know the graduate pathway that you want to take, you can work backwards from the requirements that way. Say, yes, I know I need to have this level 3 subject. What's the prerequisite for that level 3 subject? What's the prerequisite for that level 2 subject? So again, it's generally speaking a 50-50 split in terms of students knowing exactly what they want to do versus sort of exploring and thinking, I know I want to do arts, but I'm not 100% sure what I want to major in. Give a lot of different disciplines a go. Thinking about what you're interested in, what you're good at, and any other graduate study. So that's a lot. That's a lot to consider and to keep in the back of your mind and sort of navigate the handbook and all of the resources. And that's where I'll first start with Brett subjects. Very quick, how to actually search Brett subjects. So on the online handbook, I was originally in the all results types when I was looking for the course. You can actually filter further with subjects. So if I hit the subjects tab here, on the right-hand side, there will come up with lots of different options. And there's a breadth in courses filter. So if we go with science again, you can actually tick, yep, I'm in the Bachelor of Science. Okay, so there's 958 Brett subjects that I could potentially do. Still a little bit overwhelming. So if you're starting out very fresh first semester, you can also filter by subject levels. So if we go to level 1, because we know in your very first semester, generally speaking, you'd only be doing level 1 subjects. You have to successfully complete at least 4 level 1 subjects or 50 credit points of one level before moving on to the next. But most people do 8. So you do 8 level 1 subjects, 8 level 2 subjects, 8 level 3 subjects. So if we filter by level 1, a little bit more manageable, still a lot, 229 results. Another way we can filter is by study period. So we know we can only enroll for the academic year of 2021, which will be semester 2. So if we filter by semester 2 subjects that are level 1 that are available as Brett in the Bachelor of Science, that is, again, there's still a lot, which is very exciting and a lot to work through, but that helps to sort of filter the subjects that are available to you in your course in semester 2, which is great. And then you can further by areas of study. You can have a look at all of the different areas of study that are available there, or just have a bit of a cruise through the list. It will tell you if there's requisites. So if we have a look at Chinese cinema as an example, okay, there's something some background knowledge that I need. Again, remembering we can go to eligibility and requirements. and it will tell you what you need for that. For all of our language subjects, we do have a language placement test, but the handbook gives you all that information on what you might need to do before you enroll. So a lot of information, a lot of things to consider. Everybody has such individual goals and interests and wanting to try out different things. Now there's my cue. That's where one of the most comprehensive student support networks in Australia comes into play. So Guido gave an excellent example of one of the amazing student services that we offer, both online and in person in academic skills, but there's lots more to that. So the Student Services Directory, I would strongly encourage you to have a really thorough look through as well, to make sure that you know all of the services that are available to you. There's careers and employability, the learning and development, academic skills, which is what Guido went through. We've got student admin and IT support. We've got financial aid and special consideration and things for elite athletes. But we also have, and I'm a bit invested in this, but course planning and enrollment advice. So you can actually book a one-on-one appointment with someone from my team to discuss what you want to achieve, the subjects that you're considering. And this can also include, you know, if you're thinking about maybe only doing 3 subjects in semester 2 and catching up in a summer term, or potentially if you're eligible for a reduced study load, so doing less than 50 credit points, how that might impact your progression. So we can chat about all of those things. We can talk about how we might enable an exchange program, or how to potentially do a concurrent diploma. I'll very quickly touch on concurrent diplomas because that is a very exciting addition to a degree. So a concurrent diploma is essentially the same as a major in an area, but it's an additional qualification. So what you can actually do is you can do the Bachelor of Science and major in maths, and then do a concurrent diploma in languages, which is the equivalent of a major in languages in the Bachelor of Arts. So I'd strongly encourage you to have a look at the Concurrent Diplomas website. Just a note on concurrent diplomas though, that is not a reason to extend your original COE. So concurrent diplomas generally add at least 4 and up to 8 subjects to your study, but they do need to be completed within the your main COE, and that's where course planning can come in to try to help you talk about cross-crediting and intensive subjects and how you can really fit all of these amazing opportunities into your degree. I could talk about this forever and ever, but I will stop sharing now just in case there are any questions in the chat.
That was incredible, Belinda. I know I have to say, check out the handbook. That's really great advice. It can actually be very exciting because you'll see that there's things you've never even had the chance to study before, and they'll open up your world. And it's pretty normal to feel like you're not really sure where to go. And that's the great thing about uni. My first question that is coming through, Belinda, is when can students access those one-on-one course planning sessions with your team?
Great question, and that was very remiss of me not to mention. So as soon as you are admitted, so as soon as you have your username and password, you can actually book an appointment with us. And I will quickly just share again to show you how you do that. Course advice and enrollment assistance. There's a link here to book an appointment. You can log in and book. So again, as soon as you have your username and password, you can actually book an appointment with us. We are a very in-demand service. We're very good at what we do, if I do say so myself. Sometimes it will look like appointments have sort of run out, but just for your information, heard it here first. Our telephone appointments, and we can dial internationally, absolutely. Our telephone appointments open 2 weeks in advance, but we almost always have the capacity to be able to open more appointments on the day. So if you can't get the time that you want, just try again at around 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, whatever that sort of translates to where you are. We also have virtual appointments. So that's sort of screen sharing. We have limited appointments, and they open 3 days in advance. So again, if you can't get into one of those immediately, they actually automatically open at midnight at Australian Eastern Standard Time. So you might be in with a bit of an advantage, depending on where you are in the world, to log in and book a virtual appointment. We do also offer in-person appointments, but we have this service available telephone, virtual, and in-person, during our service hours. So as soon as you have your username and password, you can log in and book an appointment with us. We would really encourage you to have had a look through all of the resources so we can have a really excellent, robust conversation about what it is that you want to achieve. But you're always available, and you can sort of, if you need to, you can book in an appointment every day. Not that you'll need to, because it'll be super helpful the first time around. But yes, we're always available there to help.
Oh, fantastic. That is a true insider tip with when the actual appointments drop. So thank you for that. I've got one other question coming from Wei-Fan. Can you do a double major? Now, I'm not sure which course you're in, Wei-Fan, but what's the short answer to that, Belinda?
So
I know
Wei-Fan,
that varies.
Yes. So Wei-Fan, you should check the online handbook. So the handbook for each of your courses will let you know whether or not you can do 1 or 2 majors. There are absolutely courses that do offer double majors, and some courses don't. But having a double major, you can still fit in lots of different subjects that still meet the same outcome. And that's where having a conversation with us about why you're planning on doing a double major can really help. Often double majors are quite restrictive because there's lots of subjects for both majors, the prerequisites that you need to meet, and there might not be that flexibility to try out something new or go on exchange or do an internship subject. So I'd really encourage you to think about all of the other things. Some courses absolutely do and some courses don't, but the online handbook will tell you for your particular course.
Brilliant. Thank you. So that seems to be the go-to place for all of our undergraduate students. I think that we all learnt so much from you. It is a lot. So again, I do encourage you to make one of those one-on-one appointments, check out the handbook, ask for help. And again, take that point from Belinda. You can have help the entire way through. So as you explore and grow as students, I have absolutely appreciated having you here tonight, Belinda. And don't go too far because I'm going to welcome you back later for the grads. But thank you so much from everyone out there. And now to our undergraduates, your next step is that you have coming up your online learning. How does it work? What does it look like? Coming up very, very soon. Now, some of you would have been sitting here thinking about getting academic preparedness and also seeing about course planning. And as you see 95% of subjects still available to you, you might be thinking, well, how am I going to do a practical class for my engineering major? How might I do design? How is it going to work? So we're going to give you those insights for your specific course. So you can join us back again in 30 minutes for science and the Bachelor of Arts, and come back in 1 hour for the Bachelor of Commerce, the Bachelor of Design, and the Bachelor of Biomedicine, where you'll get that glimpse into exactly what you can expect from your academics and within your classes. So for me, to our undergraduate students, I would like to say, again, congratulations. This is a big deal. We're so excited to have you as part of the University of Melbourne, and I wish you all the best. So remember, 30 minutes for science and arts, 1 hour for commerce, design, and biomedicine. You've got those links, and we will see you soon. And welcome back to everyone, to our graduate students, whether you were off getting a snack, whether you went and watched some Netflix or something else for the last 30 minutes. This is all about you now. We are going to be focusing on course planning for our graduate students. Where do you start? Where do you begin? Well, I'm going to begin with an expert. And just in case you didn't stick around, this is Belinda. Her team work every day with students to help them around this confusion, choice, and basically all the opportunity that lies beneath. So I'm going to hand straight back over to you, Belinda. Let's take a look at graduate course planning.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Apologies to those who did stick around, but there will be different considerations for graduate students, but you'll get to hear me again for the next 25 minutes or so. So again, first of all, congratulations on your offer, especially at a graduate level. It's a really big deal getting an offer at the University of Melbourne. On behalf of myself, course planning, and the wider University of Melbourne, welcome to our community, and congratulations. We're really excited to have you here. So what is course planning? Big question, but essentially what we need you to think about is how you are going to achieve your goals and also meet the requirements of your degree. So there's certain rules that you need to follow in order to be given your degree certificate at the end of your studies. So tonight I'm going to be talking about sort of high level things for you to consider, and also how to navigate some of the really helpful resources that we have, so you can sort of start your planning now. So I'm just going to share my screen. And the first thing that I would like to stress is that the online handbook really is the source of truth. So handbook.unimelb is where you'll have all the information about your course, any specializations and the subjects within your course that you can do. So this is a really, really important page that I would really encourage you to have a really good play around with to get really comfortable with your course. So I'm just going to show you navigate through a graduate course just to see some things that you should consider and keep in the back of your mind when you are looking at your course. So I'm just going to have a look at the Master of Marketing Communications. Oh, if I can spell communications. And you'll see it does fetch results as you go. You can search by the code or also the word. So it is a pretty intuitive search. So if we have a look at the Master of Marketing Communications, it will give you an overview. It will tell you how many credit points it is, how long it takes. It will also have your coordinator details. So this is a really good thing to keep in the back of your mind, because your coordinator is sort of your go-to academic when you have any questions about potentially varying your course, or if there's any recommendations about particular subjects for what you want to achieve. So have a good look there. For this particular course, there's two. So the coordinator for the Faculty of Arts is Dr. Jennifer Beckett, and for Business and Economics, it's Dr. Danielle. So those academics are readily available and happy to take questions that you have about the academic side of things and the subject selections that you can make. A big thing to note in your course entry on the handbook is your course structure. At a graduate level, often there are different entry points depending on what your background study has been. So for the Master of Marketing Communications, as an example, if you don't really have a background, you'll be doing the 200-point program. Generally speaking, one subject is 12.5 credit points, but at a graduate level, there are also often 25 credit point subjects. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind as well. If a subject is 25 credit points, you do that one subject plus two others. So you'd be doing 3 subjects in a semester, but that would still be 50 credit points. So there'd be sort of twice the amount of work to do in the 25 credit point subject and hours and study. But that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. And you can see that there's also different capstone options. So a capstone in your graduate course is sort of an opportunity to bring together everything that you've learned into a couple of juicy subjects or projects or a research thesis. You don't necessarily have to know which capstone option you want to follow immediately, especially for those in the longer programs. But some for the 150-point program, you might have to have a bit of an idea about whether or not you want to follow the thesis option, just because of the availability of subjects. And you can see here that for the thesis, they're done in 2 parts. So whilst it's 37.5 credit points in total, that 37.5 credit points is actually spread out over 2 semesters. So you actually have 1 year to complete your thesis. So just some things to keep in the back of your mind. And again, this is what course planning is here to help you with. So I would really encourage you to first know the program that you are in. That will absolutely be in your offer letter. And that can help you to sort of plan out your course and know exactly what it is that you need to do to meet the requirements of your degree. So if we go to majors, minors, and specializations, you will see that there are the different entry points. So if we have a look at the 200-point program as an example, and we have a look at the structure, again, noting that your coordinator's details are there. Again, it will show you exactly what you need to do, including the capstone requirement. As a graduate student, it's really important to know what your capstone requirement is. Again, you don't have to know exactly how you're going to meet it, but just know that it's there, and that's something that will be coming up in your final semester or 2 as part of your course. And there's potentially different options. You know, you've got a project and a coursework subject, a couple of coursework subjects, or you've got a thesis or work integrated learning with an internship. So having an idea about what it is that you want to do and what you want to achieve within your degree can help you to have an idea about the capstone. But of course, things can change as you work through your initial subjects and coursework subjects as you go along. So you'll see here, it has your compulsory subjects. So your first 50 credit points or your first subjects need to be these. You'll see here, it has the study period, so when they are actually offered, and also the credit points. And this is a great example. You'll see that it's the first 50 points, but there's only 3 subjects. That's because the Foundations of Marketing and Communication is a 25 credit point subject. So in your very first semester, and again, if you were commencing this course in semester 2, all available in semester 2, these are the 3 subjects that you'd be doing, but it's still a full-time load. And then you can have a look at what the remaining points are. Compulsory subjects need to do those. There's some core subjects, minor thesis, and electives. So I would encourage you to have a look at all of the different subjects that you can do to get yourself excited about what it is that you can achieve within your degree and things that you're interested in and might need some prior study to get into. But your capstone and your core subjects are the subjects that you absolutely need to do. So in the subjects themselves, there's a couple of things that I'd really like to point out. If we have a look at Foundations of Marketing and Communication, the subject itself has its own entry. One of the most important things is actually the availability and the delivery. So on your study plan, where you actually go in and tick the box to enroll in subjects to say, yes, I want to do this subject in semester 2, it's likely that they will all say that subjects are on campus. So the information that's on your actual study plan where you enroll in subjects is not up to date. And it's the online handbook where you will get the most up-to-date information about the delivery of subjects. So for semester 1, Foundations of Marketing and Communication was done fully online. So regardless of whether you're onshore or offshore in Victoria or Queensland, every student studied this subject online. For semester 2, it's a dual delivery subject. So what that means is that if you are in Melbourne and are available to come on campus, there will be some classes available for in-person. But if you are not able to get to Melbourne, it's also delivered online. So about 95% of subjects will be dual delivery or online. So for the vast majority of subjects, regardless of where in the world you are, you will still be able to study them. There's very few subjects that the teaching and learning can't be replicated online, which will be listed as on campus on the handbook. But you can sort of ignore your study plan where in my.unimel where you tick the box to enroll, because the handbook houses all the information about the actual delivery mode. So that's a really important note when you are exploring your subject options. The other thing I'll draw your attention to is eligibility and requirements. So some subjects actually have prerequisites. So subjects that you have to have studied before to have the necessary background knowledge to succeed. For this particular subject, there's no prerequisites, but there are 2 co-requisites. And co-requisite means that you have to study them at the same time. And if you remember from the course entry for Foundations of Marketing and Communication, it needs to be done in the first 50 credit points. And there were another 2 subjects that you also had to do. So that's actually built into the system. So we are telling you for the very first 50 credit points, these are the 3 subjects that you must do. So prerequisites and co-requisites are an important consideration when you are also planning your course. You can also see the assessment. So if you're looking at electives, you can sort of think, oh, I'm super confident with project work as an example. You can actually have a look for subjects that do have project work to help build your skills in that particular area. And also dates and times. So this has lots of information about when the subject is actually being run and how many contact hours there are. And also importantly has your subject coordinator contact information. So subject coordinators and course coordinators are always happy to hear from students to answer any sort of academic questions that you have. For more administrative questions, that's where sort of course planning and Stop 1 comes into play. But it's good to know that, yeah, their contact information is there. So the online handbook is the thing that I would really strongly encourage you to be really familiar with your course, because that should have all the information that you need to sort of look at the different subjects that are available in your course when they are being delivered, and also being aware of the capstone options that you have, the meaty coursework subjects or juicy projects or internships that you do at the end of your program. Just bring together everything that you've learned and sort of cement it as a capstone at the top of your course. So the handbook, there's a lot in there, and I'd really encourage you to sort of carve out a chunk of time to be able to get really familiar with your course and the requirements. But there's also lots of other help available. So we have the faculty course planning resources page as well, and you will see that there's lots of information about commencing student resources and course maps for graduate degrees. Excuse me. So if we have a look at commencing student resources for the Faculty of Arts, drum roll please. I hope my internet hasn't gone out. That will have lots of different information about how to enrich your program and policies, and sort of how to get in touch with your graduate school as well. So I'd really encourage you to have a look at a handbook, source of truth, but also the faculty course planning resources for your course. So that's a lot. And there's certain things that are important to consider when you are looking at actually selecting your subjects, because you think, there's this full list of subjects and I only get to pick 3. How do I pick them? So one big thing is interests. What are you interested in studying? There's lots of studies that sort of say that if you're interested in a subject, you're much more likely to engage with the content and also do well. So really take your interests into account. Also considering if this is a pathway for something. So if you are doing a master's program in order to get into a Master of Philosophy or a Doctor of Philosophy, sort of what the capstone options you would choose would probably be a thesis subject to sort of try out your research skills and see if that is what you're really interested in pursuing. Complementary subjects. So this is a little bit loaded because you could technically argue that everything is complementary to everything else, because regardless of what you study, you're going to learn really valuable skills and knowledge. And in the more and more interdisciplinary the world gets, and you'll be working with lots of different people, engineers working with designers, having a look at what complements you and your goals is really important. And I've really tried to hammer this point home. Your capstone options are really important. So make sure you are aware of what they are and what you might be interested in. Again, you don't have to make the decision straight away, but just knowing sort of when the trigger point is, when you might have to start a thesis, is really important to sort of help you make those decisions. And also career goals. What is it that you want to get out of this course? Would you do an internship over a thesis, or would you do a project? So really considering what it is you want to get out of this in terms of your career pathway is also a really important consideration. So there's a lot to think about, but there's also a lot of help, and we know that things do change. So that's where one of the most comprehensive student support networks come into play. So you may have heard from Guido about academic success. So there's heaps of assistance there for lots of different things: time management, writing essays, referencing, that I would really encourage you to take advantage of. And academic success, the programs that they offer are also, they're not just for students that are struggling, also for students to get you, you know, from that 78 to that 80, get you up to that H1. So I really actually encourage all of you to access their services. They're absolutely phenomenal. We've got lots of health and welfare services available that I would encourage you to have a look at. Careers and employability, which is, you know, potentially getting to the pointy end when you're in a master's degree. So there's lots of information there on how to find internships or how to write a resume. So I would encourage you to have a look at all of those things as well. There's the learning and development. The university library also has some excellent resources about how to reference, and they also have sort of specific people that are part of a discipline, so they can help you specifically with art or specifically with science, that are so also a really, really helpful service. Extra support, if you have an issue, it's more than likely that we will have a service to support you. So as a side note, I would really encourage you to reach out before something becomes an issue, so we can help it not be an issue and for it not to impact your success at university. But what I'm really here to spruik is the course planning and enrollment advice. So we actually have advisors that are available to have a one-on-one appointment with you to discuss your goals and the subjects that you've done and how to meet the requirements of your degree, and actually using the study plan and selecting subjects and potentially planning an exchange. So we have dedicated advisors that are available to have a one-on-one booked appointment with you. We do have appointments that are virtual, so sort of Zoom appointments by phone, which we can dial internationally. We do also offer in-person appointments, but our virtual and phone appointments are very popular, and you'll be having exactly the same conversation with an advisor if you were in person or if it was virtual or by phone. You can book an appointment, again, as soon as you have a username and a password, you can book an appointment to have a chat with us about sort of anything enrollment related or subject selection wise. Really happy to help. Telephone appointments open 2 weeks in advance. So that means you can sort of log in and book, you can see appointments that are available within 2 weeks. Our virtual appointments, we do have, unfortunately, a little bit limited availability for our virtual appointments. They are opened 3 days in advance, and potentially at an advantage to some of our offshore students, they are automatically released at about midnight. So if that works for you in your time zone, awesome. Log in, jump in, grab an appointment. And with our telephone appointments, if it does look like we don't have any availability, often we do have the ability to open up additional appointments at around 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time the day of. So we offer limited appointments to be booked sort of before the day, just to make sure that we have enough advisors on to be able to have really robust conversations. So just try again if you can't find a time that works for you at around 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Time on that day. So there's lots to consider, but there's also heaps of support available to you. Again, I really quickly went over all of the student services that are available. And again, congratulations on your offer. It's a big deal getting into a graduate program at the University of Melbourne. And I might throw back over to Zoe to see if there are any questions.
Brilliant. There are absolutely questions for you, Belinda. We're not letting you go away just yet. One of the big ones that's come up, and I know this is a common one for students when they're struggling picking between a couple of things that sound really interesting to them. What is the best way to manage a clash in the timetable between two different subjects that you might want to do?
That's a great question. And given that we do have so many different subjects around the university, it's sort of, it's inevitable that some subjects will clash. So if there's two subjects that you're super duper interested in, I would prioritize any core subjects or subjects that you absolutely need for your degree and potentially save that other elective for a different study period. Another way that you can look at sort of moving your subjects around is if a subject is available in both semester 1 and semester 2, you can save that subject that has the additional availability and focus on the subject that is only available in semester 2 as an example. Or if there's two subjects that are only available in semester 2, you can also look at potentially doing that subject in the next year. And that's where a bit of Tetris comes into play. And if you need any assistance with how to sort of juggle those subjects around, you can book an appointment with us and we can help you to run through it.
Brilliant advice. So what's a capstone subject? We talked a bit about them in there. What is it for those that aren't so sure?
So great question, and it does differ between courses. So the whole idea of a capstone is that it's some kind of study that you do at the very end of your degree, which enables you to bring together absolutely everything that you've learned into one either subject or research project or internship. So it's just an opportunity to use all the knowledge that you've gained throughout your degree at the very end to sort of tick off, yep, I've done it. So this can look different with different degrees. It could be a 25 credit point coursework subject, which maybe has a research project, or it could be a thesis, which is done over a semester or 2 semesters. So it really depends on your course and also your discipline. For the Master of Architecture, as an example, the capstone for that particular course is a big design studio, where you sort of do your last hurrah big design, architecture design project. So it really depends on the discipline and also the choices within that. But it's an opportunity for you to pour everything that you've learned into one meaty, juicy thing.
Sounds like something to look forward to, I think.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, speaking of course planning and subject selection, when is the last day that we can add a new subject and enroll in a subject?
Great question. So I would strongly encourage you to sort of choose your subjects and enroll in subjects as soon as you can, just because, and I don't know the dates off the top of my head, but timetabling is involved. So as soon as you can. However, we know that things change. So the last date for you to actually pick a subject and enroll is for standard semester 2 subjects is the second Friday of the semester. So the first 2 weeks of semester really is a grace period, because you might enroll in a subject and you go to the first couple of classes and you think, oh, this isn't really for me, or it isn't what I thought it would be. We allow you to change, noting though that you would potentially have 2 weeks of classes to catch up on. And that's why we really encourage you to sort of enroll early. But we also know sort of priorities change and timetables might clash and life might get in the way. So you do have the first 2 weeks of semester for standard subjects. On the online handbook, I'll quickly share just so you know for all of the subjects. Under the dates and times tab for subjects, there's this date here. So the last self-enroll date, that is the last date where you yourself can jump onto your study plan the subject, and tick the box to enroll.
Excellent. It's good to see it in practice. Now, what happens if a class that I want to do is full? I think you just gave a good tip too about starting early.
Yes, absolutely. So the vast majority of our subjects actually don't have what we call a quota. So quota subjects are subjects that sort of have a set limit of availability for students based on particular things. It could be, you know, the number of easels in an art studio, or, you know, a morbid one is a number of cadavers that you can sort of work on. But a lot of our subjects actually don't have quotas as such. On the online handbook, it will tell you if a subject does have a quota. Back to good old faithful handbook. I am going to show you an undergraduate subject, which is a level 2, just to show you what it looks like. So you'll see here, it's got this box that says quotas apply. Quotas apply, and under the dates and times section, it will tell you what the quota is. So if something does not have this quota sort of a tag on the online handbook, if you enroll and there's no classes available, more classes will be made available. So yeah, if for some reason you enroll late and you think, oh, there's nothing on the timetable, I can't do this subject, please don't panic. It just takes a little bit of time for faculties to be able to open additional classes. So most of the time you'll absolutely be able to do your subjects. If it is a quota subject that is full, you can sort of monitor, and on your study plan, you can just keep trying to enroll in it, because we do know that some students withdraw. But my advice would be to save it to a different study period if it is a quota subject.
Brilliant. Now, Belinda, say it is a core subject or something available for just that semester, and like many of our new students out there from all over the world today, you may have a significant time zone difference. I could be from Norway, the USA, Colombia, and hello to you if you are from there tonight. What can we do if a class that best suits either late at night or something, so it's not 3 a.m, but there are classes that are better available for students, they're full, say the tutorial or the workshop, what can a student in that position do? Because obviously we want to make learning a bit more conducive to them than 3 a.m.
Of course, absolutely. And we have had students in that situation, you know, for the past 18 months. So there's a couple of different options. So the first option is we have what's called a timetable assistance form. And there's an online form that you can actually submit to request a full class based on your circumstances. So often classes do have a couple of spaces that are left not available to students to accommodate students in those types of circumstances. Another thing that you could consider, but again, I'd really encourage you to have a conversation with course planning about the impact on your course, is if you are in a time zone that is 5 hours or more different to Melbourne, you can actually reduce your load. So if you are a student visa holder, generally you do have to study 50 credit points per half year period to meet the sort of requirements of your visa. But if you are 5 hours or more outside of sort of the Melbourne time zone, that is what's considered a compassionate or compelling circumstance. And we have a process called reduced study load, where student visas can actually apply to not do 50 credit points in a half year period, based on a set of circumstances in which time zone's one of them. So my first suggestion would absolutely be a timetable assistance form to try to request the class that works best for you based on where you are in the world. Otherwise, you can come and have a conversation with us about what the impact on your progression through your course might be if you did delay that particular subject.
Brilliant. And that's a good example of how we are really aware of the different factors that come into play. And we do want to set you up for academic success, no matter where you are. And one of the things that I know that our academics and our faculties have done is that they've tried to extend the times in which that they teach to make sure that it's going to somehow work for different parts of the world. And of course, when you get started with O Week, you'll see all the different ways that you were to playback classes. But of course, there's lots of interactive classes that you'll need to be involved with, and they've really tried to consider those options. One of the benefits that has come out of online learning is a lot of our offshore-based students have said, actually, we've found that there was even more accessibility to our tutors, to our lecturers, for the fact that they were being really thoughtful and really opening up their hours to make sure that they could support us. So it's a little more than during office hours and in between teaching and things like that. So there have actually been some great benefits. Now, Belinda, when can students start, I guess, actually booking in for those one-on-ones if they're feeling a bit confused about things because there is so much choice? At what point?
So much choice. And again, that's where we are really here to help. So as soon as you have your username and password, you can actually book an appointment with us. You can log in on the website with your username and password, and you can select course planning, again, either virtual or telephone. Again, we have much more availability with telephone appointments, but if you happen to be online at midnight Australian Eastern Standard Time, our virtual appointments, the next availability of those 3 days in advance do drop. So again, as soon as you have a username or password, you can jump on and book an appointment with us to discuss anything about your course and subject selection and study plan.
Brilliant. And I know at the moment, as we lead up to the start of semester, your team would be incredibly busy right now. So for those of you out there that are struggling to get an appointment, do make the most of Belinda's tips, and you will find it worth your while. It's kind of like waiting for some new collection to drop, isn't it? Believe me, they're worth it. So
very exclusive.
Sure I've got
not at all. We're very accessible.
We've got another question here that others may be struggling with that's come from our audience. And why is my study plan still empty? How do I even choose subjects? So if we can maybe revisit that or go back, because I know that we have more than one person out there, it always feels a bit scary at first. So what's your advice there on an empty study plan?
Empty study plan, that is a classic problem that a number of students do have. So if your study plan is empty, it does generally mean that you are in a course that has different entry points, which needs to be sort of manually chosen on your behalf. So the way we, in Stop 1 Enrollment Services, we sort of run reports every day to check students that do have what we call unexpanded study plans. And we look for them as soon as you are admitted. So if it has been more than 2 business days since your study plan has and your study plan is still not expanded or empty, I would encourage you to get in touch with us, with Stop 1 or with course planning, and we can have a look into that for you. The only exception to that rule would be any Master of Environment students who are with the Office of Environmental Programs, because you have your own special course planning appointment, but you'll get information from your school about that.
Brilliant. Well, look, we do have a few comments coming from students that they are feeling a bit overwhelmed by the process of the administration, enrolling, getting started. And so I guess the tip there really is that you can come, you can ask any questions, but at the moment, you may have to maybe consider those telephone appointments if you are struggling to get one. But I guess rest assured to everyone, no matter you've already done undergrad, but once you start anywhere, that process can be overwhelming to everyone. I know I felt it too. And yeah, so it's perfectly normal. We'll get there. And at the moment, though, there is a lot of demand on your service, aren't there?
Yes, there is.
Excellent. Belinda, if you could give our graduate students one takeaway from tonight and your session, what would that one takeaway you want them to remember?
Can I have 2?
You can have 2, sure.
Thank you. First one, and I know I've said this a lot, get familiar with your online handbook. that is where you're going to have a really good understanding of what it is that you need to do within your degree and where the options for flexibility are. The other one, which I haven't mentioned, but I would like to now, is take advantage of every opportunity. Sign up for your faculty newsletter. You know, there's virtual networking events. Go to Academic Skills, have a look at the services website. There is so much help and opportunity out there for you, but you sort of have to come to it. So I'd really encourage you, again, especially get involved with your faculty, make yourself known to your tutors and academics, because they could be references for you if you want to do a PhD or applying for an internship. So get involved and stay involved, and please, please, please ask for help, and know your handbook really well.
I think it was good having 2 tips from you for the takeaways there, Belinda. Thank you so much. We have mentioned in the last 2 sessions all about how so much is available to you online. Now, I promised you that you already are at Melbourne. You have started at Melbourne. So I'm just, for a couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you as our graduate students some examples of what that life will look like and what you could expect from your online learning. How does it work? What's it like? And what is student life like every time you log in and get a little piece of Melbourne? So give me 1 second while I share my screen. And I want to reassure you that you will absolutely get details of your course, how the learning is going to be at orientation. Unfortunately, because we have over 400 graduate courses, we were not able to do the same thing that we've done for our undergraduate students. So this is a tiny glimpse. All courses will be customizing their sessions and their teaching to suit what you're studying. And as Belinda said, we've got about 95% of our subjects we've adjusted to make work. And where we didn't think it worked, we haven't offered those subjects. So here's a bit of a glimpse into life. So these are some of the things that have happened in different parts of the university. We've had these kits go all around the world. So this was for an engineering class, and the students would join in online. This actually came to them no matter where they lived in the world, and they essentially would work on the actual practical element all together there with all of the things arriving in the mail, which is kind of exciting, I think. This is an example of the different kinds of online learning and exhibit platforms that we had in the School of Design. So you can see that there's field trips for architecture and property where they actually go out and use GPS, professionally recorded examples of different sites, and then you might stop and you might have an exercise to complete. But there's all sorts of exhibit platforms. Students will be shared licenses to use programs and software that they might have normally used on campus. And here you can see that internships have even taken place right across all of our faculties. And these are some of the areas from the Faculty of Arts that our graduate students did internships. And it was a great way to build skills, because most of us have been working online and having to adjust the way that we work. So internships are still possible, and they're happening right across all faculties. This is an example. At the moment, you'll find a lot of blended learning, so there'll be students on campus, but the shots that you're seeing on your screen right now, these are examples where the students are actually giving instructions in a lab to the academics teaching it. Now, importantly here, it isn't just about your classes, but we've really made sure to make sure you feel connected. So there's all sorts of tips available, from ways to stay positive, ways to get connected. How can you set up your space to work for you when you're at home, the kitchen, the lounge room, or wherever you may choose to study? But importantly, it is about that balance. So we've found lots of ways. So whether that is clubs, societies, you can download podcasts that teach you a new thing completely different from your course. And here's some great examples. This was Ravel's Bolero, and this went viral around the world. This was 104 different students coming together from different parts of the planet, and they performed this incredible performance, all in synchrony, all beautifully played. So they were still able to connect and practice. We spoke about this yesterday, but here are some of the classes that you can do. You can do Pilates, you can do HIIT, you can do all sorts of different stuff. And remember that Andrew said you can actually connect and get your own fitness program. There's, again, fun things. All of our cultural collections are online, so you can do a 3D walkthrough of some of our exhibitions. There's even colouring for the campus. So lots of thought has been put into it by all of the people across the university, because we truly do want you to feel a part of Melbourne in every aspect of student life, from support through to connection to people, new experiences. As I said, live band stream on Tuesdays. And these are even little comments of encouragement that are sent out from our mascot, Barry the Bear. I really enjoyed getting these. I like that it's a Barry nice day today. And one of the really special things, and I might just play a second of this, this is what academics actually did for their students. And they wanted to actually, okay, it's not going to play, but they actually filmed messages of support to say hello. So what I want you to take away from this is that in every way, the university, UMSU, your student association, and right across the faculties have thought about making sure that you get that piece of Melbourne and you get a truly unique Melbourne experience. As I say, we have campuses in over 160 countries right now, and we bring it to you every time you click on. And we did see somewhere in the chat too, one of the other things is students choosing to connect with one another and starting different things up. And a special shout out to Hernan, one of our new students, who's actually trying to find ways for students to connect. And I think it's through a Discord channel. But I would encourage you to find that through UMSU International. Set up things yourself. You'll have your study groups. But that's one of the great things. Our students do want to be connected to one another, and you'll find you might even start something or get something started. So from me, again, a big welcome. This is a big moment in your lives. We want to help you, guide you along the way, and make sure you have an incredible experience. So from myself, on behalf of the university, again, Waman Jaika, welcome, and make the most of your opportunities. We love that you're here as part of our community, and you'll be a big part of continuing our incredible legacy as graduates from one of the finest universities in the world. Enjoy, and thanks for having me. I'm Zoe, and I can't wait to meet you all one day on campus. Bye for now.